Love that music because it means it's time for another KSR happy hour presented by Country Boy Brewing. Hi, I'm Drew Franklin, the host this week with my dear friends Tyler Thompson, who is showing off her Country Boy there. What was it? What did we have there?
Cliff Jumper.
Cliff
The
Jumper.
IPA.
Nice. She is partaking with a Cliff Jumper in Nashville. We have Nick Roush and his fancy UK toboggan. It looks like KS office there. Long day in Lexington. Roush, is good talking to you earlier this morning. And Adam Luckett checking in from family vacation. Not really a vacation during portal season, but from a remote location for another happy hour. As I said, presented by Country Boy. Tyler had Cliff Jumper. I brought a little hazy jumper.
Ooh,
So
nice.
Lots of jumping today, and we will jump right in to the portal discussion because it is wild, fast-paced, and has not stopped since midnight, really, when the portal opened. Nick and Adam and Tyler, you all been all over it all day. I guess we'll have a lot to get over. We'll do a little player-by-player and whatnot, but we have somewhat breaking news here on YouTube, Nick Roush, that we have confirmation that Sam Leavitt from Arizona State will follow the rumors and take a trip to Lexington. Not a commitment, a trip to Lexington, but Kentucky is in good shape there. Do we know when he will be visiting, Nick Roush?
We don't have exact dates, and that's the beautiful part of the portal is that you know a little, you know a lot. You think you know something, but you really don't. There's a lot of uncertainty, but it is good to get some affirmation because, I think Justin Rowland had something. Jacob Polachek said there was smoke between the two parties, and then I don't know, it was noon when we started getting messages that he was on campus. And so I'm asking, hey, is he on campus? I was told, no, not quite yet. But turns out he is making his way at some point to Kentucky. He's the number one ranked quarterback in the transfer portal. On3 has him as the second best prospect overall. Pretty good player. I don't want to say single-handedly because Scadaboo obviously was awesome. They had a really good team last year. But Sam Leavitt's a big reason why Arizona State went from seemingly no wins to a college football playoff team. So he's a great talent. And the key in all of these, Luckett, as you know, is getting in on him early. And it sounds like Kentucky's going to be able to get Leavitt in on campus early. And that's your best recipe for success in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think to your point, right. Getting the first visit is very big. Like we saw this play out with Devin Leary, right? Kentucky got the first visit. He still went to Auburn, but Kentucky still got him. So yeah, I think it's a big deal. It's like, to me, this is like the first measuring stick for the staff from a recruiting kind of, and not just necessarily recruiting, just operating in this space and knowing how to use their funds. And so this is their first, I think, big swing, and we'll see if they can close on it. But, yeah, Leavitt, I think you just look at him, Nick, it's honestly a little weird because the guy that Will Stein replaced at Oregon was Kenny Dillingham.
Mm-hmm.
And their offenses are very similar. So Leavitt was a great fit at Arizona State. He'll probably be a terrific fit here at Kentucky for Stein. And I think it would give Kentucky specifically Stein, some validity early to get a guy of that nature. And the last staff openly talked about how difficult it was for them to recruit receivers because it took them, 7-8 days by the time the portal opened until Calzada committed. So if you're able to get him done here soon, get Leavitt done here soon, that's going to help you go recruit other players. So it's a big domino. And if they can get it to fall, it gives them, I think, just a lot of momentum and a lot of buzz and people pulling in the right direction, have something to believe in, which is what I think the fan base wanted, maybe more than anything, was just a fresh set of ideas, a fresh way of doing things, something different. And this would be a lot different than what we've seen in the past.
The thing I like, too, about Leavitt is that he's just such a college football quarterback. When you watch him, sometimes it's what's he doing? And then he does something crazy, right? Luckett shared a clip of him rolling left, taking a shot, and then throwing it 30 yards down the field. He's a very scrappy, mobile player who I don't think you call him dual threat, but he's a great athlete back there in the pocket. And he makes things happen. He makes plays, and that's why he's so coveted in the portal. There's a couple other schools tied to him early. Miami, LSU, and Oregon, which, Oregon, the guy who's calling Oregon's offense right now is at Kentucky. So that would make sense. There's wrinkles with Dante Moore, like that. He's kind of fringe. Will he stay? Will he go? Will he return for another year sort of deal? So that's kind of in limbo. And then I guess it looks like Kiffin is fighting Texas Tech for Sorsby. So essentially the early options that were linked to him aren't necessarily
Slam dunks.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Tyler, we're able to keep up with Levitt and the other QB happenings because Cutter Boley made news yesterday, leaving the program. Nick and I and Adam have all had an opportunity to talk about it on various shows. But what did you think of the Boley stepping away to look for other options that open the door for all this portaling?
I think it just shows you how quickly all of this moves, because 24 hours ago, I guess whenever that news broke, it felt like the biggest story. And then 24 hours later, we're already moving on to possibly getting the top quarterback in the portal. So life comes at you really fast. And I think it's just crazy that Cutter could go to Arizona State and then we would get Arizona State's quarterback, who is seemingly an upgrade from Cutter. But initially, when I saw the news about Cutter, I was a little bummed. He's a Kentucky kid. It seemed like he was committed to staying here. He was showing promise. But, if the reports are true and he wasn't open to, competing with whoever Stein brought in, and he had an offer from someone else that was even better than what UK could offer, you really can't blame him. So it's weird that it could maybe end up as a win-win for both sides, but it kind of feels like it now if Kentucky gets Levitt. I mean, it's just life comes at you fast with the portal. It's been a wild 24 hours, and I can't wait to see what's next. Hopefully.
If we just had a trade, like what? Huh? Okay, I'll take it. Thanks for.
What do we need to get Arizona State something like add in Jaden Quaintance? Do we need to send them a barrel of bourbon or something? Do we need to send them some country boy?
If I need to go visit and thank them in person, I'll go on behalf of everyone in Kentucky and check out Arizona to say hello. I'll make that sacrifice. Yeah. We're all fans of Boley, and it would have been fun to win with them because at Kentucky, really anywhere, when it's one of your own, it's just different. But it was a quick flip to go from that news to this morning already talking about having Levitt. Will Stein's backing up. Still got to get commitments, but just having conversations and then getting this visit. Will Stein, who came off as guy, had a little bit of arrogance with that, everybody wants to come play for Will Stein comment. So far with today's news cycle, it's looking like there are a lot of people that are at least considering it, Nick Roush.
Well, and I think a lot of the Cutter situation is like Tyler said, he's one of us, and he flashed a lot. And you see this dynamic play caller come in, say, "Wow, what could he be with that guy?" Right, and so that it's fun to dream big dreams. And the other part is just the uncertainty of the portal. And Kentucky fans have been snake bit by the portal, right? Like you have the Will Levis success, but then it's like it's okay with Devin Leary, but it's not great. And then Brock Vandegrift retires, and then Zach Calzada is just getting his money right, and he's not really doing anything else. So naturally, we're worried, right? Like, does Kentucky have enough money to even get Will Stein a competent quarterback? And when you hear this news, it just provides some reassurances that, okay, maybe this guy who has turned 3 portal quarterbacks into stars, maybe he knows what he's doing, right? And maybe he can get it done at Kentucky. That's why you hired him. And if he can get this one locked up, it would be just a huge, huge shot in the arm for his first free agency period.
Luckett, for everyone who's with us today watching, shout out everyone in our YouTube comments. Thank you. Glad to have you here. But just for someone that maybe hadn't kept up with what the Sun Devils been doing, maybe they hadn't even heard of Cam Scatabo till he become a Giant. Like, let's say Levitt was in the SEC this year. Like, where would he be in a tier of quarterbacks when healthy? He's been hurt this season, but when he's healthy and playing his best football, like, where would you say he stacks up with the quarterbacks we just saw in the conference?
Yeah, I think he'd be at the top, near the top. I'm not going to say he'd be the best, but he would be near the top. Like preseason, he was in that group that I think like Garrett Nussmeier and DJ Lagway were in. Now, they didn't have great years. They kind of faded off, but like they were seen as a among the top 15 or so best quarterbacks in college football, I think, entering the year. So that's going to be, if Kentucky gets him, it's going to be kind of similar to think about what the buzz Will Levis had ahead of the 22 season. Now for us, he was a content train. It's going to be similar, I think, with Levitt here. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Now, this season didn't go great for him. Some of that had to do with injury, and that is a concern. I believe he's missed 6 starts in the last 2 years, so he hasn't been available. So that's something to watch. He does have a foot injury, so I'm not sure if he's going to be available for spring practice. So that is something you're going to have to keep an eye on. But yeah, I mean, he's like when it comes list season, he's going to be on all those quarterback lists, no doubt about it.
Who are some other names we should still keep an eye on, because this is not over? It's great that he's going to be in Lexington, but want to be careful not to set everyone up for just heartbreak here if this were to go another direction. Is there anyone else we should be looking for? Do you think Stein is like Novosad was a name that popped up a lot? Do we think there's any credibility to him following Stein?
The thing that's remarkable so far is that we haven't heard Kentucky connected to anyone else. And if there has been, it's been quick to be denied and dismissed, particularly with Novosad, because there was a lot of that early conversations like it. I know you put together, some options that could be out there on KSR Plus, but so far there haven't been any sort of insiders, nationalists connecting Kentucky to another player to this point, other than sort of after the fact. Like Thamos says, yeah, Josh Hoover, Indiana's targeting Josh Hoover from TCU. Here's some other schools. It's like, well, clearly he's just going to Indiana. So, but outside of that, who else did you have up on that big board that you think could be an option?
Well, I think just generally, that's why you should take this Levitt stuff very serious. That we know this much about it should tell you that they are at least in a position where they've got a great chance to get it done. So that should be a sign like that they have a great shot here. What's going to be interesting with Kentucky in this, say they get Levitt, like they still need another quarterback. They would still only have 3 scholarship quarterbacks. So they're still going to need to portal someone, potentially be a backup. I know Jacob reported there was a JUCO quarterback that could have some interest. That could make sense to come in and be a backup. And the other thing, we think Matt Ponatoski is showing up.
Hope so.
But that's not a slam dunk to come back to that. So you could be down to 1 scholarship quarterback if he came out, right now and said, I'm sticking with baseball. So they're going to have to go in there. Now there's some options out there. AJ Swan is a guy who played for Joe Sloan, used to be Vanderbilt starting cornerback. So I think that could maybe make some sense. But they're definitely going to have to take maybe a FCS or a Division II or maybe even a JUCO quarterback and take a flyer on him and try to be a backup now. But for the starter, they're taking a big swing at Levitt here, and then we'll see what happens after they move on from that. But yeah, they've got some work to do at the quarterback position.
Tyler, if you have some work to do at your house, you could call my old Kentucky Home Repair, even though you live in Tennessee. Maybe we could work something out. But to anyone around Kentucky watching, they're our new sponsor here on the almost called a Rapid Reaction, the Happy Hour. And they're proudly serving the Bluegrass region since 2008. My old Kentucky Home Repair offers handyman services, home repairs, remodels, and more. Head to their website at www.myoldkentuckyhomerepair.com to learn more, or give them a call at 859-940-3376. That's My Old Kentucky Home Repair, your partner for any home project. Good name. Roush, we've been known to sing a little My Old Kentucky Home when we've been out having a couple cold ones, maybe just whenever.
Louis Armstrong has a great rendition.
Yeah.
It's fun to play around Derby time. We were talking quarterbacks on portal. We have a little breaking news. Austin Simmons from Ole Miss.
Yes.
He's going portaling.
That
could be that LSU domino. I don't know I know Trinidad is applying for another year, but that's just that's another big one that'll be out there. Simmons was a 5-star recruit who he had the thing where he reclassified 2 classes.
Brainiac.
Yeah.
I remember writing about him because he started the Ole Miss Kentucky game this year, and everybody thought he was going to be it And I wrote this whole thing about like what an interesting kid he was and all that. And then look at what happened there. Chambliss kind of took over, but that's interesting. He's got a pedigree. So
yeah, a couple things. Missouri, according to our friend Pete Nekos, early school to watch with Austin Simmons. Kentucky plays Missouri next year, so they could see him again.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned Trinidad Chambliss, Nick. Part of the reason it feels like Levitt's becoming a real option for Kentucky is because some of these places, they've got kind of just muddied situations.
Yeah.
With Chambliss, he's applying for a waiver, and there's a thought that, he'll just go to LSU. And if he goes to LSU, like Lane's got his quarterback. So Lane's going all in on Brendan Sorsby right now. It's a head-to-head battle with Texas Tech, but then who knows, he might have Chambliss in his back pocket. So then it creates all of these situations, which is why I think this has gotten really real right now between Kentucky and Levitt.
I prefer another Simmons, Malcolm Simmons.
He's got juice.
Kind of killing with these segues today.
Like
Malcolm Simmons could be a receiver heading to Kentucky with Levitt or whoever's throwing the ball, but he's one of many receivers that are looking towards Lexington for their next home. If anyone watched the Iron Bowl, you know the name Malcolm Simmons. He had a huge game, 140-something yards for Auburn, had a touchdown, really blew up towards the end of the year, a former top 200 recruit, and he will also visit Lexington. It's another example, as we were saying, Stein wanting these guys to play. They all know that offense and are excited to see what it can look like at UK and maybe be a part of it. What else do we know about Simmons and some of the other wide receiver targets?
My favorite fun fact that Luckett pulled, it wasn't just that he had 32 touchdowns and like 1,600 yards his senior year. 3-time long jump state champion, and he broke his record multiple times. But that's an athlete, right? You can't coach that.
That's not even the best Malcolm Simmons stat. The best stat is that as soon as Hugh Freeze got fired, he had consecutive 100-yard games in the SEC and like quadrupled his season numbers. After, sometimes in a relationship, it's not you, it's not the other person, it's just the situation. He just had a bad situation, and so now he's looking for a change of scenery. I think for him, just getting into a better offensive system is going to do him a lot of good. I think he's got star potential. I think that'd be a really good pickup if Kentucky can get him. But A&M and the landmen down there in College Station are in the race. So are the Hogs. So are the Hogs and the Chicken Man. So we've got an interesting kind of SEC fight here. So we'll see who can win the triple threat match.
Big picture wise, a lot of former SEC players are on this weekend visitor list, which I guess we should say Stein is in Lexington now. He's here for this weekend. They're getting all the portal visitors in, assembling the Avengers for this. But a lot of former SEC guys. And the other big picture thing, 0 departures so far announced for Kentucky. I'm afraid to say it because I feel like I'll fade it into existence, But also, shouldn't there be some guys in there in the portal here? With the amount of people, not only that they're connected to, but they're bringing in to visits, you would just I would have assumed that we would have gotten a couple more. I want to say we're up to 14, but I thought that number would be 20-ish, 20, 25-ish. My rough estimate is 63 scholarships right now, so that would let Kentucky bring in 22, but I don't know how the 105 is going to work either. There's that. So some of this is we're in a whole new world type deal. And okay, my phone was. I thought I was missing a call there.
Oh, we had news.
I was really wanting to pull the Schefter flex and be like, got to take this, but false alarm. Oh,
go ahead. What you got? You look excited.
CJ Baxter, that guy. That would be awesome. Sign me up for him. I know that a lot of these guys, they're in the portal for a reason. There's something wrong with him. In his case, he dealt with injuries, but there's a lot to like about that guy and a reason to believe he'd be good if Kentucky's able to lock him up.
Yeah, that's a Texas running back coming off an ACL, but before that, was expected to be a star. In the comment section here, at WinOn3, who I don't know if you work for On3. If you do, good to see you. Mentioned losing the Smith twins. Does Will Stein just hate Kentucky? We lose Cutter Boley, the Smith twins, Quisenberry. I thought this was a Kentucky guy, and we're talking about who he could bring in, but we are losing 4 homegrown players. The Smith twins, especially, highly recruited. What did you all think of that loss, and how that hurts, and how that, was there any chance they were going to stick around?
I'll be very interested to see where they end up.
And if they're a package deal, too.
And if they're a package deal.
Because Gerard, good. Very good. Jacob's a bit of a tweener, and he's been hurt for 2 years. So what's the market for him?
Right, because, during the recruitment, Nebraska wanted him a lot. It was reported, Jacob really liked Nebraska, where I think Gerard kind of liked Michigan, and then Kentucky kind of was able to swoop in and get them. Vince played a big role in that recruitment. Vince is at Louisville right now. And then, Florida, defensive coordinators at Florida. They want to maybe follow him. So that's going to be interesting to me, see where they kind of both end up. Gerard really came on, I thought, last year. So losing him was a bigger one, because I thought he was kind of a projected starter for you. So that hurts. But you've seen Kentucky lose Smith, but they have really hit the defensive line hard here. They got a lot of guys scheduled for visits. We've got a post coming up later today. I believe it's 6 defensive linemen that are scheduled to be on campus.
And
they're not going to get all
two.
Yeah, there was a Louisiana Monroe one, I think, that just popped.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get all those, but they're in the hunt for them. So that's a position that they're really targeting. And to me, I'll be interested to see, do they lose any more defensive linemen? And then if they get a few of those guys, they're going to have a pretty deep rotation. So that'll be definitely something interesting, I think, to watch year one as we kind of learn more about Jay Bateman and kind of what they want to do on defense.
Speaking of bigs, that offensive line, obviously a big deal. It's another year. So we're doing the offensive line portal thing, but they're having 4 offensive tackles on campus. I know of 3 of them, and they were all in the SEC, and 2 of them were starters last year at left tackle at Auburn and at LSU. The kid from Auburn, too, Xavier Chaplin?
Yes.
He was 2-year starter at Virginia Tech and was like an all-conference player there. And something about Hugh Freeze, man. He wrecked everybody. But that guy is like a legit NFL talent. And so to get him, and then Tyree Adams, the left tackle from LSU, like you said, you're not going to get all of them, but they're fishing in the right waters at a lot of these positions.
The logistics of all of this is crazy to me too, because I'm looking at the visit list, the list of visitors we have on KSR. There's like 20 plus names on there. And granted, they're not all visiting right now, but you got to think they're going to be on campus within the coming days. Like, who organizes getting the hotel rooms for the family? Or do they just rotate tables at Ruby's? Like, how do they do this? It's crazy to me. I know agents obviously play a huge part, and it's just all business meetings now, but I don't know. It's a wild. We're used to the transfer portal because it's been around for a few years, but it feels like this is the craziest it's been. I know a large part of that is, Will Stein, it's his first year, but the chaos is crazy.
I was thinking about this earlier on the visits this weekend. These coaches are going to be in golf carts, not knowing what they're pointing at, not knowing what's on the other side of the doors they're walking through. This is going to be new to everyone as they're trying to show off with the facilities. I know the tour of the building is not the most important thing players are looking for, but I did already have that thought of assistant coaches like, well, we'll figure out what this is together. Let's go in this room, see what's in here.
Yeah, who gets Vince's golf cart?
I think that probably went with him, probably.
Who gets dibs on that's at the Stoops' beach house or something. Who gets dibs on that? But yeah, I think these are fast. It probably happens in a day or so. A lot of these things happen in a day or so, and then these kids are on to the next one, or they want to go hurry up and make a decision. What's interesting about this portal specifically?
Yeah,
it was almost like the NFL. Like, we knew who was going to be in the portal before the portal opened.
Right.
We had some of that in the past.
Period. Yeah.
We had something, but we had like a tampering period, like a legitimate tampering period. So we had a big pool of players to pull from. And so that made it more interesting, I think, to kind of set the board and kind of look at what are the options and all that. Now more players are entering, but before then it was just like craziness. You just didn't know who was entering from where, what, and that. But with it being so late in January, like, they have to move fast to get guys in the school. And so it's all gas, no brakes.
One more familiar name before we wrap up the portal stuff.
Yeah.
Did I see that was it Marquise Johnson from Missouri from the game that broke Kentucky football? Is he also on the list of teams we're looking at or players we're looking at?
That would be a hilarious turn of events too. It's like the one because that you really can. And whenever Stoops got fired, I had the everything that went wrong, and it really you can go back to that play. And was Kentucky up 14-0 or 21-0?
It was 14-0 in the second quarter. I mean, they're just over midfield.
Yeah,
4th and 10, I believe.
And they're in safe punt, like they're preparing for a fake, and Marquise Johnson just mosses, gets a touchdown, and then now he's on campus visiting.
Another visitor that's a familiar name, Tavion Wallace. I've forgotten about him, the brother of Trevin Wallace. So it was kind of cool to see that name again. Have you all heard anything about Willie Rodriguez? Obviously very close to Cutter Boley, roommates. It sounded like he was going to stay, but does the Cutter news change anything? How much of a priority is he right now?
I heard a week or two ago that he was trending towards a return, and then you'll have to check this timestamps on it. It might have been December 30th. I heard he was trending towards a return. So, and I also would think that Willie would know what his roommate was leaning towards doing.
Yeah.
So I would think that he's probably coming back, and I wouldn't think that a Cutter decision would ultimately be like, all right, I'm completely changing my mind now, especially after watching the amount of times that Stein throws to his Oregon tight ends. I mean, they get the ball to those guys. So bring them back.
Expect the unexpected. I mean, anything can happen.
It's fluid.
You could be trending one direction and come back trending the other direction.
Yeah.
Find the stud season, not feed the stud season. Find the studs.
What over under Luckett 4.5 commitments by Monday?
That's a good number.
Yeah.
Probably gets paid the big
pay
bucks.
me the big bucks.
I'm an under better. I would lean under, but I think that's the number. 4 to 5 seems like the right number.
Yeah. And I'll have a list of some guys. We're gonna have daily kind of recaps at night, and there's a couple that I feel pretty good about early on, and we've mentioned some of them today. So
I'll throw in one prop bet on your prop bets. Over under 0.5 quarterback commitments by Monday.
Ooh.
What time on Monday? Give me the Monday evening.
If this is the fine print at the bottom of the bet, you have until 11 p.m. Eastern time to cash the ticket Monday evening. Gives you all day Monday, not just the weekend.
I'd say over. I would bet
There
over.
we go.
We won't hold you to it though. Also, it could be the 4th-string quarterback. I just said a quarterback. Didn't say anything about how good they are.
It's like with the assistant hires. It's a assistant, not the assistant.
Also, Drew, the fact that you're going on vacation next week means it will happen the minute you leave Lexington.
Oh,
that's when the big news will drop. So.
Although it's usually coaching changes. So do we have any coaching changes to make? Because I would get your bets in for Monday. The moment I board a plane, I think I leave at like 9 a.m. About 9:15, expect a coaching change or some major update. That's got a pretty good track record spanning multiple years.
Roush has already called it. It's going to happen when I'm in the car on the way back home.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
Yesterday's bowling news happened right as my son was telling me he had to poop, like at the park where there's nowhere to poop. I'm just like, it's hitting the fan.
Literally.
Moving on to that other sport that still exists, even though it feels like we've forgotten about it here lately. It is the middle of basketball season, everyone. I know the college football playoff has been fun. I'm currently watching the tail end of the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. For anyone that have lost count, Texas State is up 41-10 over Rice. Looking like going to be a cover there. But we also have SEC basketball starting tomorrow. Our predictions just went up all across social media. Tyler, I was hoping you would be one of the optimistic ones, but you were like me and lean Kentucky losing to Alabama. But we just got a point spread shortly before we hopped on YouTube here. Kentucky is a 5.5-point underdog in Tuscaloosa. As we speak, Stephen, who is behind the camera, is probably in the passenger seat or the back seat of Jack Pilgrim's car as they're on their way to Alabama. They're going to be there for that one. But Tyler, a big game for the Cats tomorrow after it feels like it's been forever since we've seen them. Honestly, could be one of the toughest games left on the schedule, a road game at Alabama, top 15 team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't get a good read on this Kentucky team right now. I feel like it's literally impossible to. I mean, we've seen them fully healthy and all together for one game, really one half, and they looked awesome against St. John's in that second half. But then, I don't know. I mean, Lowe didn't play the next game. Quaintance was limited minutes. It was against Bellarmine. It was 2 days before Christmas. They let Bellarmine score 85 points. That doesn't really inspire a ton of confidence from me going against Alabama, who averages 95 points a game. If this game was in Lexington, I might feel a little bit better. But the fact that it's there, it's this early, Kentucky will be coming off a 10-day break. We're hearing they're embracing their new Smash Mouth basketball identity. But again, that doesn't really give me a lot of faith they can keep up with an offensive juggernaut like Alabama. But we'll see. Hoping for the best, but also bracing for what could be a loss, and an understandable one at that.
Yeah, I made my prediction. It's going to be a loss. I do feel much more confident than I would have been before we saw that healthy team against St. John's. And I worry about the slow starts, but I wrote about a post that hadn't gone up yet. If we can ask for anything, we're getting out the Alabama road trip at the right time. If you have to make it, it's at a time when students are just getting back on campus. Their football team just got smoked on the other side of the country. Hopefully a lot of their fans are still over there crying about that one. 11 a.m. local time. We hear all the time from former players about how they love to just wake me up, get me to the gym. Let's get a road game out of the way. So at least, you got to play Alabama on the road at some point. I like the circumstances a little bit, but this is also a team, Nick Roush, that if Alabama gets hot early, they're a team of runs. We know Kentucky can fall behind and have their droughts. This is one you don't want to get out of hand, because when they get hot, it's typical Nate Oates' team. They're getting 13 threes a game. It could be look out if Kentucky isn't able to dodge or isn't playing well early on in the game.
Styles make fights. And Mark Pope, they've looked better the last few games, but they've done it in a style that isn't your traditional Mark Pope style. And now last year's team, they were able to play the get up and down the court sort of game with Alabama and Nate Oates and shoot threes, but ultimately we're just kind of outgunned from deep. Can this team muck it up enough to define the style? I don't think so. And especially, like, I think it says as much about Alabama. Like, Kentucky can ugly up and muck up some games against a lot of teams in the SEC this year. I don't think Alabama's one of them. So then that means, well, you got to hit threes. And I know Peak had a video on the KSR YouTube channel about how they're due to start making some threes in these big games, but I would not be willing to bet on it right now. Where Cats opened as 5.5-point dogs over on BetMGM.
Adam Luckett picked them to win.
Yeah,
Adam Luckett was the football guy is going with the upset win.
The quiet part out loud was that this whole rebuild was about beating Alabama. Like, why he built the roster this way was to win this game. Like, to me, it's a circle game for Mark Pope. Fully healthy. Bama is a bad defensive rebounding team. Like to Nick's point, how do you match up playing their style? Well, it doesn't matter if you're getting 20 more shots than them because you're dominating on the boards. Like, that to me is kind of the game. It shut off the paint. Like, where Bama got them is because they couldn't corral the dribble. They dribble past them. Either Mark Sears had a layup at the 10 or a kick out for 3. But if you've got a better defensive situation, which Kentucky I think does, specifically with Diabate and JQ on the floor and with Cam Williams on the wing, like, they just match up, I think, better with Alabama this year. And if they cannot, as long as they don't get blistered in the 3-point battle, as long as it's not something like 11 makes to 3 makes, I think they've got a great chance to win this game. This Alabama team, I don't think is as good as the one last year. I think defensively, they've got a lot of issues. Offensively, they are good, but defensively, they've got a lot of issues. And I think Kentucky can give them some matchup problems because they have the bodies that they didn't have last year, just from an athleticism and length and toughness standpoint.
How are we really getting the training wheels off, JQ? Like, I want to believe it.
Yeah, there's some unknowns. Like, you've got to get out there a little bit. Like, there's some unknowns with it. But I think the St. John's game is a perfect example. Like, St. John's went toe to toe with Alabama. Like, it went down to the wire. Like, Kentucky was better than St. John's on that day when they had their guys. Now, if Lowe's shoulder pops out at the 16-minute mark, all bets are off. But if Kentucky's full strength, I think they can give Alabama some real problems, because I think this was the whole point of all of this, was to build a team that could beat Alabama and teams like them that kind of play in the SEC.
Tyler, there's some fun angles to watch. We have Jasper Johnson, who got pretty close to picking Alabama. They were very high on his list. At one point was considered a leader. He's a high school teammate of Philon, Alabama's leading scorer, the SEC's leading scorer. You've got that connection. And then the more obvious one, we took Mo Diabate in Lexington. And Nate Oates brought him up in a press conference a couple weeks ago, calling out his toughness and how they've missed it there. So, they'll be thinking a lot about that, and he'll be fired up for that game. You watching those two players?
Absolutely. I mean, we saw what Diabate did to Otega Owe last year. He was Alabama's best defensive player, so having him on our side will certainly help. The Philon connection it's a big one. I remember talking to Jasper about when he went to Leak Academy and played with Philon and a couple of the other big name guys. What a kind of like a reality check it was, that this is what it's like to go up against really top level guys. And Philon's averaging like 22 points a game or something. He's leading in the SEC. He's really, really good. I mean, they've got another guy on the top 10 scoring list who's number 6, I think. So Aiden Holloway. It's going to be a good game. I just hope Kentucky can, I know we're into this whole smash mouth basketball identity, but they've got to keep up with Alabama. No more so starts, like you said, Drew. And can we start Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance? Can we start our best players? Can we stop it with this whole, we're going to bring him off the bench? And, Pope, I was on vacation earlier this week, but I tuned into enough of that press conference to try and understand his quote about why Lowe doesn't start. Something about how he didn't want teams to key in on him as on the scout as the major point guard. And I'm like, even if he comes off the bench, they're going to do that. Yeah. I mean, he's clearly this team's best point guard option. So just start the kid. I mean, yeah, maybe it puts him a little more at risk with his shoulder, but if something happens to his shoulder, it's going to happen. I want to see the best players, the ones that played in the second half versus St. John's, start the game.
And Lowe's coming off his best half, and he's on the longest possible break anyone could have in the middle of the year, with 2 weeks between games with him sitting out Bellarmine. I'm with you. Please play him. I worry about what it can look like early if you don't play him.
So gosh, that's how long ago that St. John's game was. I was traveling to my in-laws for the Christmas break. Gosh, that's a long time ago. But I listened to, some of the game on the radio, and Goose was talking about how he had a similar injury. He had the shoulder deal where it pops out and you just kind of got to deal with it. So, like, I know yes, Bellarmine, you let it rest, but, this is just going to be something he has to deal with. And I've never been one of those that is, you got to start X, Y, and Z, because ultimately it doesn't matter that much unless you're digging yourself into a hole.
Right. And unless it's against Alabama.
Well, and the other part too is, the team is just night and day difference with that guy.
Right.
It's just not even, I honestly can't recall a player in the last decade where it's like just one guy makes everything look so much different, makes everybody play better. It's like, just get him out there and play it. And you know what? I was under the impression, 3 strikes and you're out. I mean, he went back in and played. So at this point, like, it seems like he's pretty willing to just deal with the consequences, the pain that's going to come with it. So keep on trucking, brother, because boy, do we need you.
It is the first true road SEC test, and those stink no matter where it is. I mean, we saw last year they go to Georgia and Ole Miss and lose. I played up how, it is 11 a.m. local, but that doesn't change that much. I worry about the environment and these damn scoring droughts. This is a game, you survived a couple with some scoring droughts. You can't really have much of a scoring drought at all against Alabama. They're getting their shots off. This year they've added a shot blocking. They're third in the country in shot blocking, and that is leading to fast breaks where they're getting off quick threes and making those. And it can get ugly in a hurry because on both ends, they're making some game-changing plays. I'm not leaning. I picked Alabama, but I have a little bit of belief, but we're going to need the full roster, as you all said. Is anyone actually going to dabble on the gambling aspect with the 5.5? Am I going to?
I'm staying away from gambling for a while. Adam Luckett talked me into Alabama, and that did not work out.
It's okay.
I'm on a cold streak.
I love them like a lot. You were really convincing, Luckett. Like, if nothing
really
else, you
were.
should get credit for that.
My logic made sense until the game started.
Right. What do they say? Right bet, wrong result.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I cheated on a test in high school one time, and my teacher said "right answer is wrong test" at the top of it. It made me think of that. Don't cheat in school, everyone. The half point got me. I said this on KSR this morning. I was going to go Indiana, but when we went to 7.5, that half point completely just got in my head, and I went the other way.
Oh man, is there anybody got any coffee around?
How many are you all up to today?
I haven't had one since
you're in a
coffee this morning, Drew. So
You're struggling.
It just hit me.
I think that had 4 shots espresso in it. I know it'll wake you up. Talking about the best game we've seen in a long time. Kentucky tomorrow is going to need some magic at Alabama. The women's team already had magic in their road opener. That game last night at LSU, I know it was hard to find, and ESPN tried to keep us from seeing it. Had to go over to SEC Plus to stream a top 15 matchup in women's basketball. But I switched over from football and made sure to watch the Cats, and it did not disappoint. A late comeback after LSU led most of the game, and it ends with Tony Morgan hitting a 3 right in front of Kenny Brooks. I heard him say post-game he knew it was going in as soon as she let it go because the angle he had. And Kentucky gets the big win, upsetting Kim Mulkey with Lane Kiffin in the house. Tyler, were you tuned in?
Absolutely. I loved everything about it. I've watched the clip of the game-winning basket at the end, and I love it because the LSU player like shoves down Key, or so she falls or something, and then she mouths to her, get your blank back up. And she does. She goes down there on the other side of the court and hits a buzzer beater. Like, it's the ultimate just eat it moment. But I was trying to go through our old KS board thread. I love the announcer on that broadcast was awesome.
Lynn Rollins. I looked him up.
Yeah, he had some sayings that I wrote on our KS board thread because I was loving it so much. Like a rat on a Cheeto. That was one of my favorite ones. He was hilarious. I'll find some more.
And to think they tried to keep us from him. They tried to hide the game where no one would see it. He was awesome. He kind of had like an old school voice too. You mentioned them telling Tony Morgan to get back up. I also saw a clip going viral of Williams pumping up the crowd right before Kentucky gets the ball. And it's just LSU going crazy thinking those 3 free throws would put it away. But Tony Morgan had something to say about it. And then Tiani Key, my goodness, you trying to get every rebound? Kentucky rebounding is what won them the game. That in the fourth quarter defense. But Nick Roush, she had 17 points and 16 rebounds. Morgan gets the attention for her big game, but Key had a big one right behind her.
I mean, that's Oscar Tshiebwe-like stuff. I mean, unfortunately, we can't make Key kind of one-on-one because Oscar ruined any sort of fun rebounding things because he set a standard that had only been touched in the 60s, when the rules were different, but she was incredible. And that's the part too, is like, I was a little worried when they lost one of their bigs in the offseason of the transfer portal. It's like, well, if Key steps up and improves, like, she can be a great 1-2 punch next to Stroud. Oh yeah, Kenny Brooks, pretty good at coaching him up, right? Like, God knows what he's doing.
My only take, I haven't watched much Kentucky women's basketball yet this year. Only real take is Kenny Brooks is a man. Kenny Brooks just rules. His celebration at the end, it was like, God, this dude is just cool.
Oh, they need to do the beard giveaways because the beard it's perfect.
Like the old James Harden, like they used to do in the crowd.
Yeah, because it's the perfect amount of salt and pepper, and I don't know, man. He just is.
He has the swagger, as they would say.
Rob Bomley would say,
or as the LSU announcer guy would say, he's as cool as the center seed of a cucumber. That was another great one. He's just got a presence about him. I mean, he's awesome.
And you lose Georgia Amore and you go out and get Morgan from the ACC, and who knows? That's asking her to fill some big shoes. But she had 24 points, 12 assists, and 0 turnovers at LSU, the number 5 team in the country. And it wasn't like they didn't have much of a crowd. That place was on fire for that game. Shows you that Kenny Brooks, they've kind of made that a team that can sell some tickets too, and they came to town. Just a great start for the women's team in the SEC season, going 1-0, 14-1 on the year, and their one loss was to Maryland, a good team. They're home Sunday. Go watch them at Memorial Coliseum, historic Memorial Coliseum. I believe it's at noon. It's a day game, whenever it is, playing Missouri. But an awesome win last night to get started. That's exciting. Can't wait to see where they rank them on Monday when they update those rankings. What we got? A little New Year's resolutions there. Does anyone make New Year's resolutions? Are you all a resolutions crowd? Anyone want to volunteer to share if they have one that they?
Well, it actually is kind of an 11 personnel announcement too, because this year we're doing something we've never done before. We're running a half marathon.
Yay! Join the half marathon club.
Wow!
It's
Look at these guys.
Good for you.
So.
Backwards.
Even better.
The backstory behind it is that when I first started dating my wife, we were drinking at Keeneland, and I was like, yeah, I could run a mini marathon and no problem. And so we made a bet, one that I lost. I did not run the mini marathon that year, but I've always wanted to do it. And, I was getting in better shape, and the Lucketts, they had already signed up to run the mini marathon ahead of the Derby, and I was like, I got to pull the trigger. I got to do it too. So 11 personnel running a mini marathon.
That's awesome. So you're doing the Derby City.
Maybe we can get a banner, and we can just tie ourselves to the banner. So we got to run step for step the whole way. Then we can record a live race. Pete can get Vince's golf cart down to Louisville over to the race. He can put it in reverse and film us the entire way. How many miles in this? All 13.1.
We'll buy a big sheet and cut 2 holes in it. You just pop your head through and run together. We'll paint it up. Oh, I love this. We're going to be the fittest crew in podcasting, me not included. You all do all the running. I have about half my country boy left, but that's awesome, guys. Proud of you.
Well, that's the best part about a half marathon, or really even a 5K these days. They have beer for you at the finish line. So maybe we'll all just be there with country boys just waiting for you to get there.
Well, there was a good run there where my friends and I would either stay up all night the night before or get up at 4 a.m. and pregame the mini marathon to high five people and give away beers. So if you're going to find us if you want to come to the course the week before Derby and pass us a beer, I promise you that Luckett and I will make sure it does not get wasted.
That's awesome.
What kind of training we doing? We got you doing a little bit every night, every other night, maybe once a week, every morning.
We're running a 10K. Me and Taylor are as kind of the halfway. So we're running a 10K in February in Vegas, of all places. We're going to Vegas to run a 10K.
That'll be. Do you run on the Strip?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure where it's at. I think it's on the Strip, around the area.
Yeah.
Drew and I were on the same page there.
What? I don't know how you're gonna be able to do that.
Run.
I've done some running in Vegas, but it was not part of a marathon.
It's early in the trip, so we get it out of the way, and then we have a couple days to enjoy Vegas.
So, thank God you're not just showing up, hitting the pavement, then heading right back to the airport. At least check out a sports book or two.
I'm doing the thing where I'm going to be overly confident and probably ill prepared, because I actually did get I mean, I trained right up until like 2 weeks before it. So like I've done 10-mile runs and I was basically just like, I'm bored. Like this is awful. So, but we'll sprinkle in some long runs. A neighbor of mine is doing the full marathon. So I'll get a couple long runs in with him. We'll be ready to rock. We'll be ready to roll. I got to make sure that I'm good enough to where we can celebrate at Churchill Downs that night, because I may have found an area to sneak into on opening night that is all you can drink. And last year, brother, I may have stumbled into some bushes on the way home. That was an event.
I mean, I know our happy hour here didn't do like insane numbers or anything, but I like that you're confessing to crime you're about to commit at a very public place where you're going to be sneaking in. You're also like 6'5", you stand out a little bit, but you're announcing that you're going to sneak into the all-inclusive area. I like it.
Yeah, you just look like you belong, you know? I got a pass here, you know? But don't look at it but it's a pass.
If
They'll never
there's
see
free
you coming.
beer in Churchill, then Nick Roush is going to find it. I think we've learned that over the years.
Well, long story short, is this January 2nd, I'm thinking about drinking Derby week. So, like, if you want to know where I stand, Christmas season's over. It's time to get ready for Derby.
Tyler, did you all get crazy in Nashville for New Year's? I was looking behind Hardy and Bailey Zimmerman and Lainey Wilson to see if you were in the crowd, but I didn't see you back there.
You could not pay me to go downtown for that. No, we stayed home. We actually went to our favorite brewery and had pizza and a couple beers there, and then came home and watched half of the Stranger Things finale, and then went to bed. And then last night watched the other half. So very tame New Year's around here, but New Year's, it's an amateur night. That's amateurs night out. So we space our partying out.
Other than getting back to Indianapolis in March, April, do you have any big resolutions or plans or anything for 2026?
I keep
Big
talking
goals?
about writing a book, and I feel like every year it's a New Year's goal, and then it just rolls over to the next year. So at some point, if I'm going to do this, I have got to do it. So my goal is hopefully starting at the end of basketball season, making that dream a reality. So the problem is there's 5 million other things happening. So but I will make time.
Can I just you mentioned the name Bailey Zimmerman, Drew, which
I don't know who that is, by the way. I
didn't either. This is I thought he was a girl initially, and they announced Bailey Zimmerman on the stage because I eat up all that garbage TV on New Year's. That guy sucks. Like that. So he was the guy that they put on the big giant stage for everybody to go and like party at. And then they have Zach Top at a bar playing music. And I'm like, so everybody is going to go watch that guy, but not the real country music guy? Like what the hell is wrong with people's brains? Like that's a pop artist doing like rock and roll with his belly hanging out, right, to show off his abs. Like, give me the dude with the mullet and the mustache who's singing about what was it about, like his beers going away? Like he was worried about his beer. Like it's like that's a country music song right there.
I can't believe you watched that. I can't believe you watched that show. Like of all the New Year's Eve shows, that has to be the worst one, right?
Well, see, I like to get I just channel surf. So like 1 minute I'm watching Andy Cohen be really drunk. And then I'm like, all right, y'all are blabbering too long. And then the next minute, it's like the most overly produced CBS Nashville thing.
Yeah.
Like, guys, you have to look like you're live. You cannot be so overly produced. But then they bring up Brooks and Dunn. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch a little Brooks and Dunn, right? But Diana Ross, she was outstanding. And I don't know how much of it was lip synced or not, but I was like, when I saw her, I thought, she's old. How does she look like that? And sure enough, 81 and still rocking. That was great.
Yeah, she seemed to be the takeaway. And then I did flip over to Andy and Anderson because they're my favorite. And they had these giant like puppets of them that they were playing. But do you see the big Muppets that they had?
You're not
like
seeing Muppets.
I turned it on and it was probably 11:30 Eastern time. And they were so drunk that they had some guest on there and they just were like hitting them with the Muppet things. It was
I love the spectrum of like you get Ryan Seacrest, professional Dick Clark, and then you get what is akin to basically our YouTube production with CNN, just like putting a camera on Andy and Anderson, just getting slammed, which You know, honestly, I'm surprised we haven't resorted to that content yet over at the KSR YouTube channel.
Your
Trying.
rapid reaction from Nashville for that basketball game one.
Oh, no, we were just getting started. That was early in the night.
The Nashville Tennessee. I didn't watch it. Do Anderson and Andy I remember like a year ago they would take a shot. Are they still ripping shots? Is that what they do, or do they just constantly have a drink? Do they pregame? Like, how do they get to this point where they?
Yeah, I think it's a drink. Like every hour they take a drink or something. I don't remember if it's a shot. But there was one year where they weren't drinking, but they are back to drinking. So that broadcast will confirm it.
We were at
a
dive bar down here in Jacksonville and watching the playoff game, but on the other screen was, I don't know what channel it was, one of these New Year's shows. And it was the Savannah Bananas and Gronk just walking around New York City. And every time I looked up, Gronk was doing something stupid, like microphone hitting it against his face, trying to do the splits. He danced at one point and fell down. It was just like, I was like, what is going on here? Like Gronk, he's perfect for those, just go do something stupid so we can all laugh right quick.
Well, his big moment is spiking the Lego Steve Harvey a few years ago. I think Steve Harvey was in on the bit, but it's hard to tell. He looks very angry because it did look like Steve Harvey, and it was huge, and it took like weeks to make, and then Gronk spiked it. And I hope that Steve Harvey wasn't in on it, because if Gronk truly just did that on the fly, that adds to what Luck say. That dude's out of control, and put him on television more often. Let's get to our KS board questions before we start being Anderson and Andy up here with our country boys. For the love of the game, how long on average do your New Year's resolutions last? The years where I've said I'm going to go to the gym or run or whatever the trendy thing is at the time, CrossFit, it does not make it to the Pro Bowl. Sometimes doesn't even make it to the college football national championship. So mine do not last very long. What about you all? Like, you all going to do this marathon, or is this going to evaporate in a few weeks?
The ultimate test to this was if you go to the gym. If you go to the gym regularly, it's always like, why are there so many people here?
Yeah.
And then around Valentine's Day, it starts getting back to normal. So that to me was the ultimate kind of test. It's usually like 6 weeks. 6 weeks. You get it through the Super Bowl. People get to the Super Bowl and just like,
I was going to say 6 weeks sounds generous. I'd say more like 3, but yeah, go ahead, Roush.
Well, I signed up and paid my money, and I'm too cheap to like back out on it. So
the fact that you have paid money,
right. I'm financially committed, pot committed. So we got to stay all in.
Everybody, I've told it a million times, but everybody likes my gym story from when I lived over a different part of town. I genuinely went to join a gym across the street on Leestown. For people that know Lexington, there's like an Applebee's, there's a Drake's there now, El Mariachi. There used to be a gym over there, and it's one of those 24/7 gyms. You know, in the blogging sports lifestyle, our hour is a little funky. So I thought, I could go over there late at night, maybe even after a game or something, have the place to myself. So I got dressed up and went over there to join the gym. And since I had seen it, it had become a Domino's pizza. And I walked in my gym clothes and bought a pizza and went home, and still have not joined a gym to this day after having that thought. But if it had still been a gym and I'd walked in and joined, who knows? Maybe I'm fit right now. Maybe I'm not even working here. I'm touring the country, in those bodybuilding competitions. But in that moment, it was a pizza place, and I went and ate pizza and haven't worked out since. Fun times.
You're working on your dad bod.
That's actually my resolution.
There you go.
I'm working on a nursery today. I hear my pregnant wife is probably on a ladder that she shouldn't be on next door right now doing something in the nursery. So that's my resolution. Let's get to another question. Can we get the motivated Stoops SEC Media Day story from UK Doc in Florida? Well, Tyler was not at Media Day. I was not at Media Day. So half of us can't even vote on the matter. I will leave it to the other two for anything you would like to share from SEC Media Day.
I will let Roush tell the story. I just want to throw out the whole thing was bizarre.
Yeah.
Like the whole day. Like it was bizarre because like our colleagues that are like national people or cover other teams, they're asking us about it. Like
they're like, why does Stoops hate the local media so much?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
And The whole day from the scrum to the podium, the whole day was just bizarre. And we even looked up at each other like, what? That was just in hindsight, it was like the perfect ball to tee for the season. That set up what was about to happen. But the whole thing was just bizarre.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that for now because I could go on for a while about it, and then and then from there we could riff on it. We'll save that for a little later once we kind of move on and really get into storytelling mode, because it's not that crazy, right? Like it's Stoops being pissed at me, but there's a lot of layers to it, and it was, as like I said, it was a shocking day, and we just kind of sat there afterwards by the Xbox video game lounge and we're like, what the hell was that? They were supposed to come in and talk about change and we're going to turn everything around. And instead it's like, nope, everything's the same. And if you call me motivated, I swear to God.
And it was the last day, middle of the last day. The whole thing it just made it even more kind of bizarre.
They were bringing in people to shoot something for that
Hulu show, the Chad Power show. Steve Zahn was there.
Oh yeah.
Like that was what was we were at that point of the shenanigans. It was silly day.
So you're not quite motivated to tell it here, but you'll tell it one day.
One day I'll be grateful enough to tell it.
Yes.
Right. Let's get one more question from the board and then let everyone get back to watching. We're now watching the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Big game.
Shout Navy -7.5. I told myself not to be too afraid of the hook. So, boom. Let's go Navy.
Can't believe you're fading Scott Satterfield.
I thought I saw something that said Steven popped in with audio. Were we going to hear from God there? Are you there, Steven?
He might be at the Houndstooth. He might be Rammer Jammer. He's just walking around.
Yeah, we had to disconnect from the computer, try to get on their Wi-Fi here at the hotel. It didn't work, so we're back on the phone. But we just got into the hotel here in Tuscaloosa.
Hey! Oh, well, here, let's wrap it up here. Before you go, Steven, I hope you're not too busy. Give us a prediction. You're there at Tuscaloosa. What are you going to walk into tomorrow?
Oh, we're getting a win for sure. Jack's already convinced Zach and I both that's happening. Actually, I don't know if there's a way to put Jack on there. No, never mind. Yeah, Jack, you agree? They're getting the win. Thumbs up. Gives us a thumbs up.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we're excited.
Well, you all get checked in. Hope you have a nice single bed for the three of you. Have a great trip and get us a win. And for the rest of you all here, been great chatting with you. Let's do a little more portaling. Busy time. We got 14 days. January 16th is when all this wraps up. Feels like it's already been 16 days. Just getting started. But for Drew, for Adam, for Nick, for Tyler, for Country Boy, my old Kentucky home repair, everyone watching in the YouTube chat, thanks for joining us. Another fun conversation. KSR Happy Hour presented by Country Boy. Stick with us on KSR, YouTube, everything, all the apps. Lots of news coming throughout the weekend as Will Stein begins to build his first class from the portal. It's portal season, and we'll keep you updated. Also, Kentucky, Alabama tomorrow. Steven just said we're going to win, so we'll trust him. Go Cats. Thank you for watching today.